Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome whenever you're watching this. I am the CHALL, and today Chall Chats, a brand new contract for Doncaster Rovers. Owen Bailey, YA man, has signed a brand new deal, a long-term deal. And my word, we're going to get straight into this one. So before we get into all the details, make sure you do like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you never miss another YouTube video. We'll be back hopefully tomorrow with another daily reports, a bit of a longer one, talk about more topics, going over some of the topics we've missed over the last few weeks, go over my thoughts on them, and we'll sort of catch up on where we are at the minute going into that first pre-season game against Stamford on Tuesday. Unfortunately, I will not be at the Stamford game. It is a massive, massive shame. I just couldn't get it all done in the end. But I will be there the day after for Club Thorn, and I believe we're at Armthorpe on the Saturday tomorrow with the Rovers 11 of sorts. So I might pop down to Armthorpe tomorrow for the weekend and just see what's going on. But if not, I'll be at the Club Thorn game on the Wednesday, and that'll officially start my pre-season. And for now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get straight into this one and let's talk about the brand new contract for Mr. Consistent, the man who slays the Red Dragons, Owen Bailey. So the Geordie midfielder has officially signed a brand new 3-year deal with the option of a further 12 months, and the deal was officially announced the club began to wind down their pre-season training camp in Portugal, which took place over the past week. He is one of League Two signings of the season in my opinion. He's been the man who's done his job to an 8 out of 10 at the very least every single game pretty much over the season. A versatile talent who is adaptable as a centre-back and a defensive midfielder as well as in the centre of midfield. He made 59 appearances across all competitions and scored 3 goals last season after arriving from National League Gateshead. A former youth academy product of the Newcastle United Academy, he started every single league game during the previous campaign and is also a top 10 defensive midfielder for goals scored statistically in the league. Speaking to the club's website, Owen Bailey said this: "I'm really pleased to get it done. When the gaffer first pulled me in to tell me it was something the club wants to do, I was really keen to get it done straight away." The 25-year-old added to this as he said, "I think it's a club that really suits me. The way I play, I think the fans bought into what I'm about, and the gaffer and the staff are obviously a big part of that. It's just a good place to play football, really. The stadium is great, the fans are great, and the lads are a pleasure to be around. It was a no-brainer for me." Now, manager Grant McCann had this to say on the new contract, stating, "Bales is a very important part of what we're trying to do. I think he had a tremendous breakthrough last season, and for us to get him tied down to what is effectively a 4-year contract is great business for us." So then, my thoughts on this deal. I think my thoughts are pretty simple, really. This is just as good as a brand new signing. Let's just call it a spade, a bucket, a shovel. This is what it is. It is better than a signing, or just as good as an actual new signing. Bailey was coming towards the end of his deal in the next year or two. We knew that. And when I went to the supporters meeting with my girlfriend the previous week, one of the questions was about that I asked was about longer deals for players that are running out with a year or two left. What's the process behind that? What we're going to do? We're going to let people go down to at least a year or two before we tie them down to longer term deals. Is it just a case by case situation? What's the whole point of this? And one of our questions I think's been answered today with this news. I think that Belly signing a 3-year deal with the option of an extra year, so effectively a 4-year contract, which is just mad in League Two, by the way, with a year or two remaining on his current deal, alongside that extra club option, by the way, as well. I think that is just remarkable. I think that's an incredible deal for the club. And there's a lot of optimism around Doncaster Rovers, and rightly so. We've made some incredible pieces of business. We've got rid of the people that we needed to get rid of to afford the space for these new players. I think Biggins probably needed first team football elsewhere with, I think, the way we were moving forward. Don't get me wrong, if his second half of the season form was across the first half of the season as well, I think more fans would have made more of a case to keep Harrison Biggins. Some people were reluctant. Some people said yes. I was one of the ones that said maybe give him a year deal, maybe give him a chance. I think John Taylor's injury record was just too much to keep hold of. I think Tommy Rowe knew the score. I think he's an experienced player, but I think he knew deep down that he weren't going to get as much game time as the players coming in. So I think it was best for him to move on. But Tommy Rowe will always be a legend here. John Taylor will always be a legend here. Biggins will always be regarded as a decent player. And there's plenty of players with bad injury records that we moved on, the likes of Maxime Biamu, the likes of Cowland Lavery. And you know what? We've brought in some wonderful players in the transfer market already with, Harry Clifton, with Tom Nixon on a permanent basis, 3-year deal after his exit from Hull. You've got Billy Sharp coming back on a 1-year deal, the return of the king. You've got Teddy Sharman Lowe on loan. You've got Ephraim Yaboa on loan. So it's very, very interesting. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen with the rest of the preseason. Obviously, in terms of matches as well, and see what we look like coming out of the other side of preseason in terms of fitness levels, in terms of match build up, all that shamaki, all that jazz. But Owen Bailey coming out of the Portugal training camp with a new 3-year deal with the option of an extra year, so effectively a 4-year contract, is a major, major deal for the club. And I think that they're really pushing the optimism and the ambition, especially in this summer. And it's very, very clear that Terry Bramwell's gone all out. Him and Gavin flying out to Portugal, being with the team, being with the staff. And all of us have watched some of the videos in pre-season. In fact, I saw one particular comment on one of the pre-season training camp videos that basically said, don't let any other teams see this. And I saw that comment. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and watch. I think it's the day one morning video, which is a couple of minutes long, over 2.5 minutes long. And there's actually a comment on there I'm paraphrasing here, on the lines of, don't let any other teams see this. People know we're a dangerous threat, and we're going to be a dangerous threat. And I made the bold claim on a 606 in pre-season that we were going to be in the title picture and we were going to win the league. I'm still sticking by that. I'm not saying it because I'm a Rovers fan. I'm saying it because of what I see. I see what we're capable of, and what we're capable of is winning trophies. McCann said it at the supporters meeting on that Thursday. I was there. My girlfriend can testify that. We sat there and we listened to it. He wants the league title. He wants the Bristol Street Motors trophy. He wants a good FA Cup run. He wants to get trophies in the door. And, let's call a spade, a bucket, a shovel. Let's call a teddy bear a teddy bear. We've not had a trophy through this door since 2013. What was that trophy, I hear you ask? It was that last-minute goal at Griffin Park from James Coppinger, assisted by Billy Painter, that got us the League One title and promotion to the Championship, because Bournemouth drew their game at the same time and we beat Brentford to slip them into the playoffs. We went first, Bournemouth went second, under Brian Flynn's management. Of course, Brian Flynn, caretaker manager, took over from Dean Saunders that year after he left for Wolves. And of course, Paul Dickov took over at that point, and we know the story from the season onwards afterwards. So, that was our last trophy. That was our last trophy. It's been over 10 years without a trophy. Something had to give, and we knew we had to go for it. And he's not accepting anything below first place. McCann said it at the end of that semi-final when we lost to Crewe on penalties. Anyone who doesn't want to be here, go and find a new club. Tell your agent to find a new club. Pick up your phone, ring your agent, and say, I want to go somewhere else. Simple as that. And what did Grant McCann say about pre-season camp this week? Two players that stood out for him as very impressive: Carl Hurst and George Broadbent. Carl Hurst didn't have a lot of game time. George Broadbent didn't have a lot of game time, but my word, have those two players got potential. My word, have they got potential long term. I know Broadbent's got potential long term. There's a lot of frustration around the fan base around George Broadbent the previous campaign, but I sat there and said to people, just relax on George Broadbent, because trust me, breakout season incoming. Kyle Hurst, with a bit more game time, breakout season incoming. This is exactly what we need, and I refer back to the Owen Bailey contract. This is massive news because he is now here till at least 2028 could be 2029 with that extra year. That's huge. That's huge. Now, in terms of who else could be given longer term deals at this point, Jamie Sterry could be in line for one. I think Joseph Oluwu could be in line for one, but they're the kind of only two at the minute that I think will get them before the end of this upcoming season. In terms of what's left to do business-wise, I still think McCann wants a terrier-like intercepting midfielder with a bit of experience, not someone who's at the end of their career or past their prime, but I think a terrier-like, ball-winning, intercepting, physical midfielder, presence in the midfield, who has some real experience about him. And I do still think that one of the goalkeepers is going to go out on loan. You know, I don't know whether it's going to be Lewis Jones or Ian Lawler. If you want me to, if you were to ask me if Lewis Jones or Ian Lawler was going out on loan, who would you think's more likely? I'd probably say Lewis Jones, because I think the injury problems sustained to Ian Lawler is affecting him. I think the previous injury record of Ian Lawler has maybe put off potential clubs in the market that might want to loan this guy in. I think Lewis Jones would be a more attractive loan deal compared to Ian Lawler at this point, because I think that Lewis Jones has had more game time than Ian Lawler in the previous campaign. And I think that League Two and National League clubs will take a look at that and think, right, if he, if the club do want to loan him out, then let's go in for him. I think people like Scunthorpe, people like Boston, people like Rochdale, people, clubs like that in the National League, or even in League Two, clubs like your Bromleys and your AFC Wimbledon's. You never know. For me, I feel like there's clubs out there that would look at that and go right. Out of Lewis Jones or Ian Lawler, if any of those two goalkeepers were up for a loan deal, who would you loan in? I'd probably go Lewis Jones over Ian Lawler at the minute, just because of the persistent injury problems for Ian Lawler. But we'll leave all that discussion for another video regardless. Owen Bailey, new 3-year deal with the option of a 4th year. I'm so glad that man's staying. He's such a nice guy off the pitch. He's a leader on the pitch. He's Mr. Consistent. He's the YI man, the Geordie Rodri. And I'm so glad he's here for at least another 3-4 years. So thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. Make sure you do like, comment, subscribe. And for now, and the CHALL, ta-ra for now. That's full time. Mean that badge to you.